People who've had to take a life. Why did you do it? Everything happened so fast. Jenny's labor was going smoothly for 12 hours. We'd been laughing between contractions, picking middle names for our daughter, arguing about whose nose our baby Christy would get. I showed Jenny the onesie I bought for our baby, and it made her cry happy tears. We were so excited. Then in 1 second, the monitors started screaming. Jenny's eyes rolled back mid-sentence. She started losing consciousness, and I asked the nurse what was going on. But before she could answer, the room filled with people, scrambling to help her. I was so nervous I felt like I could throw up, but after a while, the doctor told me what was happening. Placental abruption. The baby's oxygen is cut off. I didn't think it was real at the time, but then he said it. We can save your wife, or we can save your baby. Not both. You have maybe 90 seconds to decide. I'd been awake 36 hours, barely thinking straight. How could I make this choice? Jenny would want me to save Christy. I knew that absolutely, but that was just what I thought, and this was real. I started watching them working on her, feeling like I could barely stand. I started wondering how I could raise our daughter alone. I couldn't even remember to eat when Jenny wasn't home. How was I going to look at our daughter without breaking down? 8 years together, Jenny was my everything. I wasn't ready to let her go. The doctor was getting worried now. 30 seconds. After that, we lose them both. If I saved Jenny, she'd go home to the baby room we painted together, with nobody to play inside it. Nobody put in the crib we bought for her. It would feel worse than death, and she'd hate me for choosing her. But if I saved Christy, I'd never see my wife again, never hear her laugh. Christy would never know how sweet her mother was. 20 seconds. I knew Jenny's mom had a miscarriage before, and it completely destroyed her. I knew Jenny wouldn't be able to live with herself if she woke without Christy in her arms. 10 seconds. I started watching them starting to save Jenny, as our baby's virals weren't responding fast enough for her to survive. I didn't have any time left, and I couldn't even think. I went with my gut. At that moment, I made my choice. "The baby!" I yelled, having to rip the words out of my throat. "Save the baby, please!" The doctor ran back without saying anything. Then reality immediately hit me like a truck, and I felt my knees give out. I collapsed on the floor, wailing, watching through the window as they rushed Jenny to surgery. 20 minutes ago, we'd been laughing. Now, I was watching my wife die. They pulled Christy out, tiny, purple from lack of oxygen. The team worked frantically, shouting orders, but all I could see was Jenny's heart monitor. The beeping sound is getting slower and slower. Then out of nowhere, nothing. A flat line that seemed to last forever. It was all I could hear over them panicking, trying to get our baby to breathe again. A nurse handed me Christy, wrapped in pink. She was breathing, crying weakly. I could barely see through my tears. I stumbled to where Jenny lay, her hand still warm. I placed Christy against her chest. "She's perfect," I whispered. "Christy's safe. I kept my promise. I love you." 2 hours later, they told me about the brain damage she suffered and the conditions she had. Significant challenges, they said. My mom suggested putting her up for adoption, saying raising a baby with Down syndrome would destroy my life. As soon as I heard those words come out of her mouth, I couldn't hold back. I told her to get out of my house, knowing Christy was all I had left, and I'd raise her no matter what. Christy's 5 now. She's been getting bullied at school for her looks, but I know she's strong. Tonight, she asked about the bedside photo of her beautiful mom. "That's Mommy. She loved you more than anything." She said, "Pretty like me?" I pulled her close. "Exactly like you." To my sweet Jenny, I'm sorry. If you're up there, please watch over our daughter.